Clint Anderson here from Downunder Horsemanship. Well, we're back again here with Titan to film another training session on our Performance Horse series. Titan has had about 6.5 months worth of training. I actually filmed him yesterday, so we showed you some of the exercises I do with him, and I film him again today because my travel schedule over the next 3 months is pretty hectic, so I'm not going to be able to film him for 3 more months. So I wanted to get as much training as I could in while the cameras were here. So he hasn't necessarily, from the last time you've seen him, had any more training, but I'm going to work on different maneuvers. So it's the 23rd of January, 2016. So he's had about a little over 6.5 months of training, 5-6 days a week. So today what I want to focus on is more on his circles and also work on his stops, start teaching him how to stop and things like that. So our first 10 minutes is all about warming up, isn't it? Okay. So each time I train him, I'll just show you different type of warm-up procedures that I go through, okay? Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to jog him around. So every day I get on my horse, the first 10 minutes of course is a warm-up, but I try to do a little bit different warm-up every day, so it's not always the same boring thing. I feel like when horses figure you out and they know, okay, Clinton's going to go to the left for 5 minutes and he's going to go to the right for 5 minutes, especially those stud colts, they start kind of getting smart where they start you know, cutting corners and predicting what you're going to do, and it's just unhealthy to channel that energy like that, okay? But if you come out every day and do something a little bit different, one, the horse never gets a chance to get ahead of you because he's not quite sure what you're going to do. And two, it keeps it interesting for the horse. And when things are interesting for a horse mentally, they just engage a lot better. They try harder, they listen more, they put more effort in. So today I spent most of the warm-up just turning him on my foot, like spinning him around. You know, a lot of the time when you pick up on a rein and you kick a horse with their outside leg or you bump him with a spur, horses always want to look back at the spur. So if you're turning right and his nose is tipped to the right and you bump him with your spur, their natural reaction is to do that. You've got to teach the horse that if you kick him with a spur, don't look back at the spur, but actually, if anything, look a little bit that way and go faster. So that way in a spin, when you go to show him, if you kick him to get more speed, the horse doesn't lose form. Because when a horse turns to the outside in a spin, so he's spinning left but he's looking right, it's bad form. They get their legs tangled up and it looks terrible. So if a horse is spinning left, you want him looking a little bit to the left, just a smidgen. Okay? Well, I was overdoing it to get that stiffness. So when I kick him and he gets stiff, I can bump that left rein, keep kicking him with that outside leg until he softens down. Once he softens down, then I let him out of it. So, and tomorrow I might spend the first 10 minutes just doing nothing but backing up. The following day I might break up his shoulders and rib cage more. So now if he was terrible at the warm-up today, I'll do it again the next day. So if I don't like the warm-up today and I felt like there was a lot of resistance saying the horse's ribs or shoulders, I'll keep doing that same warm-up for the next day or two until I feel like it's pretty good. Once it's pretty good, then I, you know, introduce something else, okay? But keep it interesting for your horse. I think they just try a lot harder for you. I'm actually going to turn him around on my foot where I'll reach down, I'll take that rein, and I'll kick him a little bit with that outside leg, and I'll make him turn around, but I want that nose to actually come round towards my toe. Then I might jog him out of it. So I'm turning him around, but with a lot of bend in him, okay? So I can kind of feel him leaning off to the left here, so I'm going to go turn him around again. And if I kick him with that outside leg, I want him to just get soft in the face. So I call it turning him on my foot. It's over bending him, I realize that. But what it does in a turnaround is it gets a lot of that stiffness out of that colt. Because when you first kick a colt with your leg, their natural tendency is to stiffen up, kind of what he did just then. So I kind of bumped on his jaw a little bit there and wait till he got soft. So I want to have it so that when I kick him in the belly with a spur, instead of getting stiff and heavy, he'll actually get soft and move quicker, okay? That was better. So I usually just turn him the opposite way he's leaning. So right now I kind of feel him going right just a little bit. So I slide my hand down. Okay, now that was real soft there. Just jog him out. So I'll just kind of jog him all over the arena, okay? Slide my hand down, lose that little bit of that indirect rein across his neck. So I'm not really working on the turnaround so much now. I'm more working on just getting him soft when he'll move that front end. Well, what I'll do is I'll disengage his hindquarters here. He didn't really get off that leg just then, so I bumped him like there again. He was being a little lazy. Yield, and now I change legs. and bring that front end through. Okay. Pick up, yield his hindquarters, change legs, bring that front end through. So I'm kind of over bending him just to get all those, I'm looking for those, oh no, stiff spots in him. Change my legs, outside leg on now. That's it. I want to get to where if I draw this across his neck, he immediately turns. When I draw this across his neck, he turns and he looks in. He's thinking left. There. Now that was great. When I laid that neck rein across, he not only looked that way to the right, but he actually went that way. He moved his feet. Draw it across his neck. A little stiff right there. So I'll take that away. So I'm going to check this left side out again. Draw it across. That's good. It got soft. Love that. Even though, of course, later on I'm not going to need anywhere near this much bend. When I lay that neck rein, he's got to go that way and look that way, not as much as he's doing now. So like right here, he's a little confused. He looked the wrong way, so I just help him here. I didn't really get after him then because he wasn't really trying to be bad. He just got a little confused. If your horse gets confused, you don't want to get too aggressive with him, okay? Because then they get worried about you. If I feel like he does something wrong and he knows better and he's just not trying, well then I'll turn the heat up. But if I feel like it was an honest mistake, I'll just kind of say, okay, appreciate it, but this is what I need you to do. Righto, it's my little warm up right there. So let's start our circles. I'm gonna work on them first. Push his hip up here. Circles is something that takes a long time to perfect on your horses. You know, a good little deal is going to be when we get to the end of this training series of Titan. If you watch the very last episode of how I work on circles and what his look is, you know, how he lopes around, and you go back to when he was a colt with 60 days riding, it's going to be a huge difference from how he loped around when he was a 60-day colt with riding to he's had 2 years of training. So circles are something that you don't often see a lot of progress in circles every day. Like you don't see big jumps of improvement. But it's just like, how do you get to the top of Mount Everest? Just one step at a time. So a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. And over a long period of time, then you see a big difference. But on a snapshot over, say, a week, no, you don't usually see that much improvement. So I work on circles pretty much every day. There's something that, you know, I don't stop them every day. I don't turn them every day. You know, two things that are consistent from this point forward is I'm going to work on his circles every day, and I'm going to work on a lead change every day. Every day I'm going to do at least 2 lead changes every time I ride this horse from now on. And because he's got, you know, I'm taking my time to train him, I'm in no hurry, 2 will usually do it. Just a couple of leads every day. You do that 5-6 days a week, and after a few months, you got him changing leads pretty good. I would probably say changing leads for Titan is the most unnatural thing that he does, meaning that it's his weakest maneuver. Out of, he doesn't have a hole anywhere else in his natural talent. He's a big stopper. He's going to be a big turner. I know he's going to circle beautifully. But changing leads will be the thing that will keep him, it'll be the thing that he struggles with the most. I think when I get done training him, I think he'll change leads just fine. But he's going to have to work at it a lot more. Just like, in school, every kid's got a subject in school, like, algebra, where they have to really get a tutor to help them through that class. But they excel at, English, they excel at gym class, etc. Well, his class that he's going to have to struggle with and work hard to overcome is going to be changing leads. It's not because he can't do it, I just don't think he has that much natural ability to do it. But I'm going to be honest with you. Out of a reining horse, if there was one maneuver that I'd want them to have, if I could pick one maneuver and say, Clinton, here's the one maneuver that maybe they're not quite as talented at, I'd pick a flying lead change. Okay, I can teach any horse to change leads well. If they're talented, it just makes my job easier. I'm just gonna have to work at this a lot more. But if they're naturally a big stopping horse, they're naturally a big turning horse, they naturally have got a great circle on them that you just enhance that circle, the stop and the turn is what wins reining classes. They got to stop, they got to turn. Sure, they got to do the rest of it, but they got to do those, they got to stop big. If they don't stop, I fire them. I just fire them because you can't put a big stop on a horse if he naturally doesn't have it. The guys that are winning today, they're not riding average horses. They're riding horses like Titan. Now, I'm not going to tell you that they're not great trainers because they are. All due respect to them, they're great trainers. But make no mistake, people, they're not riding donkeys. For years I used to beat myself up and why are these guys doing so much better than me? Well, it's because the level of stock they were riding was the biggest issue. When I started getting much better stock, I'm like, these guys aren't quite as good as I thought they were. But it's kind of like you can put Jeff Gordon on a racetrack, but if he's in a Honda Civic, he ain't going to whip anybody's ass. Jeff Gordon might be a pretty good NASCAR driver, but you got to put him in a damn NASCAR that'll get to the finish line. You got to put him, he's got to be even footing with the other guys' cars. Very much horse trainers are in the same boat. Okay, there's a lot of young, talented horse trainers out there, reining horse trainers and cow horse trainers that could be very competitive, but they don't have the stock. And that's a struggle for trainers to keep finding that next great one, that's for sure. It wasn't quite getting off my leg the way that I wanted. So I like how he's kind of holding his arc to the inside better. Circles take a long time to get really good. Believe it or not, circles, you're working on them almost the horse's entire career. But for a long time, they never want to stay in the frame you put them in. So I pick him up, I'm squeezing with my legs, I'm driving him up into his face, and now I turn loose. Pick up, drive him up into his face, got my outside leg back a little bit, inside leg forward, hands low and wide, turn loose. So I'm going to start doing different size circles too now. Just, you've got to do as large, fast, small, slow. I'm going to start introducing that your circle's not always the same size. And I'll kind of do that all over the circle. I might do it again on the top end. I love that when I turn him loose and he just kind of drops that neck down. So here I'll pick him up, lay that outside rein across his neck, use a little bit outside leg, lope a circle or two, and then go back to my biggest circle. So I kind of do that at the top and bottom of the circle. I love this, how I'm kind of driving him. Other little tricks I'll do is I'll pick him up and start a circle the other direction. I mean the other end of the arena. And kind of picture an hourglass, how it goes down the middle and out the bottom and widens again. That's kind of what I do. Okay, so he's coming around and I let him start this arc, and then right about here, I pick up, inside leg on, outside leg back, and I push those shoulders back to the new circle. And what that does is it stops them from wanting to dive in. A lot of horses want to cut the corner, especially as you get into the center, because they're anticipating a lead change or just they know there's rest in the center. So by picking him up, and pushing him back out to a whole new circle, it just seems to make him wait more. I just like it. A lot of stuff that I do, I can't always explain why it works sometimes, but it does work. Love that. Nice and relaxed. Remember to keep watching, mate, as we keep Titan and the method moving forward.